All right, we're good. So I want to apologize that this is the same shirt I've been wearing for the past three videos. I'm literally just recording these back to back. It's my day off today. I'm just got back from vacation. I probably said this in the other videos, but ultimately, I'm just having a lot of fun making these videos and just saying the first kind of like just picking a topic and just rolling with it. And we're on Anime Girls, which this is not a clickbait video. I'm not going to be showing any images of Anime Girls. This is just me talking and sharing my present thoughts about it. Um, I wouldn't really consider myself a fan of anime. It's something that I've actually thought about because I've dabbled in anime before. I think that I have a pretty good understanding of anime. I don't know the terminologies that well. I've had no real desire to learn Japanese. Um, like, for example, there are these like tropes in anime, like the like different girls or whatever. This is on brand, on topic. But they all have like names and they're like deres or something. And I have heard the names. Like there's something called a yandere. I don't know what it is. It's hard for me to really memorize that stuff, but I have looked them all up and tried to figure out what they are. But it's just really, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm just that well versed in it. I know of it, but especially like with my friends and stuff, it's really eye opening how much I don't know about anime because they always talk about these shows, and I'm like, I've never heard of that show before. Um, Pretty much the extent of my knowledge of anime is I've watched probably about 20 episodes of Naruto. I've probably watched about 20 episodes of One Piece. I know what Hunter x Hunter is. I scroll through and see all the different animes on Netflix. There's that one about the high school with the superheroes, uh, Academy something. I've read the summary of Death Note. Um, in video games, I was really into Tales of Vesperia and Pokemon. I used to watch the Pokemon anime growing up, and the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Used to be really into Yu-Gi-Oh. And I guess one of the reasons why I always thought I was an anime kid was because I was bullied for liking Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh growing up at some points. And I mean, as you get older, it's like, I feel like everyone kind of likes these things. And people are just kind of like insecure about them liking it, so they make fun of you for liking it because they think that it's the right thing to do. And I guess I just want to kind of like discuss that because I feel like there's still some sort of leftover um kind of just like baggage that anime has that makes it like a target for persecution, if that makes sense. Like I feel like more people than ever before have been into anime, but we still don't really talk about it as if it's this respected thing. At least in a lot of the contexts that I've been in, maybe it has, but I feel like there's always this sort of like this cringiness to it, and I think that just even reading the title, I titled this Anime Girls just to like, I guess, set the tone of is this going to be a cringy video? And maybe I'm wrong, but I think that maybe that is clickbait in that sense that it's meant to be a title that invokes cringe. And I want to discuss that if that makes sense. So I think like ultimately the source of this is the artistic design choices, um not like inherently, but I think that the artistic design is exceptional in anime, and there's so many different styles that I've looked up. I couldn't name one off the top of my head. I just know that like there's all these different types. Like I know like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has I've again, that's a show I've seen one episode of, but the animation style in that is a lot different than One Piece, which is a lot different than Naruto, which is a lot different than like well, that's about all the shows I know. Oh, there's also that one called The Promised Neverland that I've seen. That it was pretty good. It was like a horror anime. But there's just like so much, I guess, depth to it. And I don't know if I said this, but like it almost like rivals like Disney's art style, I think, in terms of like capturing this sense of like beauty. And I think that like the main difference though is that anime tends to carry this like over sexualized baggage that Disney doesn't necessarily carry with its animation. And maybe this is like a cultural thing. I won't get too much into it because I don't want to like get all like political. But like I remember there being this like kind of like debate, like maybe when I was in college 5+ years ago or whenever, back when like we were talking about like I guess like the feminism culture was definitely more in my life. I don't know if it still is like a super big thing being talked around. I feel like there's and I'm not saying, I'm trying to be like kind of as like neutral on this as possible. um Not that anyway, so like I think that like the conversation typically was like Western culture tended to be like obsessed with violence and Eastern culture was obsessed with sex. And I'm not making any claims. This is just kind of like the vibe that I was experiencing back at the time. And pretty much like, is it okay for like, Western culture to be all into like blood and action movies and, you know, saving damsels in distress, while as like Eastern culture had, sure, they were like obsessed with sex, but they also had like, I don't know, all these like good female kind of team things like Sailor Moon and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of like, like I said, I'm not like an expert. This is just like me pulling from memories of just this kind of controversy with this kind of like sexualized culture. Not really trying to make any strong points here, just kind of it's just kind of like general stereotypes at the end of the day, I guess. Just kind of bringing up, I guess my point is that like anime tends to have this cute young girl in suggestive outfit kind of um, vibe, which can be cringe to many people. And it sometimes anime can teeter on this line of pornography from time to time, which the main separation, as stated earlier, is that Disney's art style doesn't really carry this baggage. So it's like, why does anime sort of have this cringe? Maybe this is a reason. I guess I don't know. I'm not an expert. Like I said, I'm kind of like this edict perspective looking in, I guess. Um, just trying to figure out why it has this reputation, and trying to just have a conversation, not really trying to make any, points or claims that, um, you know. Anyway, um, but yeah, I do feel like at least the current culture. I don't want to, stereotype the entire Western culture, but the current culture that I experience on a day-to-day basis, I'd say it does accept more anime than it has ever before. Especially when I was younger and maybe 5 years ago. I feel like in today's day and age, we have like VTubers, and we have like, I guess just like more like there was that Demon Slayer or something movie that was very popular. I feel like a lot of my friends are into it. I even know parents that are into it. So I think that overall, it's gotten a lot less. I get it's gotten a lot more hype over the years. I don't know. There's probably a better word for hype, but it's gotten a lot more um, public interest over the past couple of years. I guess I don't know, but there still feels like there's this cringiness to it, if that makes sense. Um, and I don't know if this is because like I guess one of my theories, again, it's not a fact, but I do notice that like when we talk about anime, there's often this kind of vernacular that's used, or even like the fan art of anime tends to be a little bit more on the explicit side. Um, like for example, if you like when I think of like anime, I think of like not safe for work titles, or like lewd or waifu or like hentai. It's just like, or like Japanese. tentacles or something. Like there's like just all these kind of like images that kind of, I guess, flood your mind sometimes when you think of it. And this might just because I'm, like I don't know, I just kind of like trying to think about this from like, you know, I think that while I'm on the outside, I'm kind of like at the edge of the circle. I'm not like completely on the outside looking in. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what causes this cringiness in my mind. And like it's weird because like growing up, I feel like we had a lot of conversations about like attractiveness all the time. Like if you're in school and people were like, "Oh, I have a crush on this person," or talking about celebrity crushes all the time in like normal conversation. And for me, it's weird because I feel like it's almost weirder for me to talk about real people and be like, that's someone I have a crush on, especially if it's someone I've never met before, as opposed to like talking like about the attractiveness of a cartoon character, which feels kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it feels like it's more socially acceptable to talk about real people as being attractive than cartoon characters. And I kind of find this odd in a way because I guess with cartoon characters, they were like specifically created for the purpose of like attracting our attention as an audience. Whereas like, so with like real people, they might not want to be found like attractive, I guess. Like maybe there's like an argument of like, something there, but I feel like in general, like a real person has, limits and boundaries of being like, I don't want you to think of me that way. This is kind of awkward, as opposed to a piece of art that like is kind of designed to be sort of like um experienced. I don't know if maybe there's a point in there somewhere, but I just think there's like this weird kind of like dichotomy there. I think that like art is subjective and basically designed to be to to be, you can evoke opinions and emotions from art, whereas I feel like it's just kind of weird to do that with people. So I guess my point there is like growing up, I always felt it was weird and uncomfortable to have these conversations about real people with real bodies, but um, discussing the attractiveness of a cartoon character, it didn't make me feel as guilty. And ultimately, I think that there's some social pressures here, um, just within the culture that I am around in real life. And I don't know. I guess ultimately, my main point with this video is that I think that anime is cringe, but I respect it. I guess like anyone who like proudly calls themselves an anime fan, I feel like I have like almost this like um desire to like wish I had that confidence, and I don't know why, because I feel like it shouldn't be something that we should um I don't know, like criticize as much. Like I feel like it's just like accepting any other kind of art. And what I mean by that is like, like back in the day, like there were like so many like art over the years has been kind of like sexual in nature. Like thousands of years ago, we used to make naked people statues, just like objectifying beauty of like this is like the standard for beauty, and like the Statue of David, or like like just that kind of art was like um, just very popular. And I feel like anime kind of teeters those boundaries of like kind of making this sexualized art, but it's like oftentimes it's like really well done. Like like let's say for example, anime is only over sexualized stuff. Like some of that stuff is actually like really well made. And like what I mean by this is like I don't really use a lot of social media, but I use Pinterest a lot. And I use Pinterest for character creation ideas. And oftentimes I'll stumble upon like this really well made, like hyper realistic, like anime character. and maybe it's not even anime, maybe it's something else. I don't know the exact definitions of that kind of art, but it feels like this medium in which like I guess digital art that's just very hyper realistic, the shading and the textures and everything about it. It feels like it could be something that was almost like idolized back in the day, but I think we're just so used to it that it's almost become normal. And I don't know, there's probably a point in here I'm trying to make that I can't really articulate, but like it's just I guess not given enough credit in my opinion. Deserves more than just being this kind of like um, not safe for work or lewd waifu kind of thing. I don't know. And ultimately, I don't really know if this is a problem. It's not really. It's definitely not like a major problem that like I would invest all my efforts into trying to get people to change their mind about. It's just kind of like I guess a thought that I had, and I have like from time to time, just about like why do I feel uncomfortable like talking about anime or something. Like when I was making my video game or whatever, um, I was like doing the art style, and it had this. It's uh, it's through this app or program called like JRPG Maker, and even like just like saying like, oh, I use like JRPG Maker to like create a video game. It felt almost kind of like there's nothing like lewd about my game at all, but it just feels like there's some baggage there that I need to like specify. It's just like this game that I chose this art style because I like the art style rather than like I don't know, like it just feels like it has like a negative connotation sometimes. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just the only one who thinks this. But yeah, not really here to solve a problem. Just feels like something that needed to be said. I probably could have like well structured this argument, even though it's not an argument, a bit better, but I guess just in a way that's a little bit more clear. But I guess at the end of the day, this is more of like a conversation starter than a fleshed out argument or claim. I just think that this should be a topic that we can talk more freely and openly about without feeling cringe. And yeah, I guess if you have any thoughts or comments about this topic, I'd like to hear them. Um, I think that this is an interesting conversation that I would like to have more of with people. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Later days.